Good afternoon. My name is Eva Kaur, and I am the founder of Candles Holocaust Museum and, of course, a survivor of Auschwitz. As one who survived Auschwitz and succeeded in triumphing over that tragedy by forgiving the Nazis, I received many requests, sometimes by phone, sometimes by email, and I decided that it would be helpful to me as well as to the people who are interested in forgiveness if I had a little chatting for 30 or so minutes in how does one begin to forgive. And I will ask you, if any of you who are watching this interview, if you are really interested, ask yourself the number one question. Are you tired of suffering? And do you really want to be free of what was done to you? If the answer is yes, then we are going to the next step. Very simply, I will ask you, if you want to be free, who do you think can free you? If I forgive your perpetrators, will that help you? I don't think so. Therefore, it is you only who has to do the work. Yes, it might be at times difficult, but I don't think it's as difficult as living with suffering and pain. I think it's much easier. So, all you have to take is a page, one piece of page, and add to it as you write and start writing. You can even call the people in your letter whatever you want, because you are really working through your pain. The letter is not written for the benefit of your perpetrator. The letter is written for letting you write down and let off steam and call these people whatever you wish. You keep going from there, from your pain. You have to remember one important idea, that when you finish your letter, you want to be able to write, say, and feel that you have forgiven them, that you forgive them and you have forgiven them. Because the moment you can actually say that and feel it, you are going to feel a tremendous sense of liberation, healing, and self-empowerment. Forgiveness to me is more the idea that you have power over your past, your present, and your future. And those people who victimize you no longer have that power over your life. Even if you want to have revenge against them, forgiveness is the best revenge. Because from the moment that you forgive, they no longer control your life. Up to that time in your life, whatever happened, it always went back to the days where you were victimized, and that always played a very important part in your life. When I forgave the Nazis, up to that time, whatever happened to me, I reacted to what other people did to me. And that is the way victims usually act. But from the time I decided to forgive, I initiated action for my benefit. And I was not hurting anybody, which is a very important part of forgiveness. You are not hurting another person. You just do not give them power over your life. My letter took me 4 months to write and rewrite, because I didn't really know how to write a letter of forgiveness. And I think it's a very personal thing, therefore every person has to design their own letter of forgiveness. Working through the pain, it's also important to acknowledge to yourself what you suffered. There are a variety. Some of the suffering comes from early childhood, from parents who were very poor parents, and I want to any of you who have been molested, abandoned, or in some way traumatized by your actual mother or father. It's not your fault. You did not do anything wrong. It is them, the parents, who were very poor parents. Maybe they should have done better, but I don't think personally, and I want to kind of be philosophical about it, that any parent wants to be a bad parent. They had their own problems. Some of them might have mental health problems. Other people might have been abused as children themselves, and that is the only thing they know. I don't know. But I always want to tell the child, you did not deserve it. You did not do anything wrong, and now it's time that you reclaimed your own power over your own life, because otherwise it will never stop. You will always feel like a victim. I know people who are prominent people in the community, people who have big jobs, and they still feel the trauma that they experienced as children. And that to me is probably the saddest thing. The nice thing is, and I will repeat that a few times, you can change it. Number one, I don't want you to go and ever move back home if you are a young adult in your 20s. Do not move back home if that is the source of your problem, because that relationship between the mother and son or daughter or father might not change, and it would be difficult. So don't be under their auspices. You might be able to develop some sort of cordial relationship, but if that relationship becomes an abusive relationship or a domineering relationship against you, remove yourself immediately. Now, a few years ago, I met with a young woman in her 30s, I think. She went with me to Auschwitz, and she told me that she had always a very abusive mother, but now her mother, just before she went with us to Auschwitz, was suffering from terminal cancer, and she wanted to get closer to her mother, and her mother asked her to take care of her, and she said now that she was dying of cancer, she finally treated me with respect, and I had the mother for a few months that I never had in my life. I do not know what makes some people so evil and so mean. I have no idea. This is as strange and as varied as human beings are. I just again want to say that any of you have suffered at the hand of your parents, it is not your fault. If you suffered at the hand of anybody else, it's not your fault. You did not deserve to be a victim, and you did not volunteer to be a victim. So now that we know all that, please take a piece of paper, take a quiet time in the day when you can write easily, and write sometime every day, sometime for a whole day, whatever works for you. See how your effort in freeing yourself will work. Some people will take you one day and you are going to be done with it and feel as good as you need to feel about yourself. Others might take a lot longer. I am not really sure. For me, it took a long time, but maybe I had a lot more baggage and a lot of more pain to deal with than the average person, because I also, not only was I angry with the Nazis and the war, but I was angry also with my parents, because most children expect their parents to protect them. As sadly it happened, my parents could not protect me. But then I would say to myself, why weren't they smart enough to escape as long as it was possible to escape? Or when I got back from the camp, I said to myself, I, the little youngest member of my family, I was somehow smart enough to survive. Why wasn't my father smart enough to survive? Why wasn't my mother smart enough to survive? Because you expect really your parents to be smarter, better at all these things, but I realize today that surviving Auschwitz or surviving the Nazi camps took a lot more than being smart. It took also a lot of luck, or a guardian angel, as I like to call it. And maybe they were never given that opportunity if they were marched directly to the gas chambers. So when it comes in trying to understand our parents, they are not that easy. If they are good parents, we all are very lucky and very happy. But with abusive parents, I don't know what the reason is, but 9 out of 10 I believe that maybe they had something in their lives that made them abusive. I don't think that any human being is, I am not looking for excuses, but I think it helps to maybe understand what happened. So I know that I have been in contact with a couple of people recently, and what I would like them to do is listen to that chatted report, because I hope that that will help them. Both of them, or all three of them that I have been in contact with them, are grown up. They are not children. But for young people, that's even more difficult, because young people are so unsure of themselves, and if they are abused, they do not know where to turn. So if there is any young person listening to that, first of all, if it happens in your own family, that is always very difficult. Talk to a teacher, talk to a nurse, talk to a doctor, talk to a minister in a church or a rabbi. And if you don't get any help, reach out to any authority, that's a friend, a relative. Somebody will help you get out of this situation. Yes, if you are under 18 or 20, you might need a place to stay. All these things are very, very complicated, but I believe that there is help out there, and you should not permit abuse to continue. You have to be smart enough and strong enough to get yourself away from it. I know that as I get many emails and letters asking me what to do, and most of the young people would like to stay home and somehow still stop that. I am not sure that that is possible, because then the power structure in a family makes you vulnerable and you cannot do it. But over and over again, I want to emphasize that you cannot give up on yourself. You cannot give up on your right to live a free human being without being abused, neglected, or even molested, which is probably the worst of all of the child abuse cases. And I get letters and people say to me, this is my father who was supposed to protecting me and loving me, and he's doing that to me. How do I deal with it? I don't think that any of us really understand it. I would not spend a lot of time on why did he do what he did. I think what I would like to do is try to help you get away from the situation and heal yourself. Don't ever, absolutely never wait for your father or your loved one or any perpetrator to apologize, because then you are still giving them power over your life. And as I said before, forgiveness is the best revenge, because they no longer have power or control over your life. So these are very, very simple things. The nice thing about forgiveness is that it's free. It costs you nothing to try it. it works. And if it doesn't work, because you don't like the way you feel as a free person, you can always go and take your pain back. I have not met yet one single person who has succeeded in forgiving the perpetrators who did not like the way they felt. It gives you a tremendous sense of power over your own life, and every single one of us need to feel that we have power over our own life. I did not know when I came up with the idea of forgiving the Nazis that would have any importance in anybody else's life. I felt that I could give Dr. Munch a letter of forgiveness because I didn't know what else to give him as my gesture of thanks for his willingness to document the gas chambers. To me, that was very important, and it took me 10 months to really come up with an appropriate, meaningful gift for this old Nazi. But when I discovered that I had the power to forgive him, then I discovered that I had the power over everything that happened. And that was the most amazing thing. And therefore, I want to emphasize to all of you that you live your life in the shadow of despair, harassment, and abuse, and you think you have no place to go with that. That is a very, very difficult and powerless way to live because you don't think that anything you can do about it. So I want you to know that there is. It's not even as complicated or as difficult that you think it might be. If you have to move away from home, there might be some difficulties. I do not know what your situation is in your town is, but I know that in Terre Haute we have places that people who cannot stay at home can move, and that is helpful. We have CODA, and we have Salvation Army and Lighthouse Mission that people might be able to move there. Don't drown your pain in alcohol or drugs, because when you do that, you are destroying your life and complicating your life. Face your problems as honestly as you can. Be fair to yourself. Like yourself more than you hate your perpetrator. Then you are going to do the right thing, because so many people try to run away from themselves. Now that is a crazy idea. Nobody can run away from themselves. They have to face who they are in their situation. And that's why I said those who try to run away from themselves, they end up in drug addiction, alcohol abuse, and they are usually ending up in a lot more trouble. So if you need a friend, you can email me. I will read it and try to advise you as honestly as I can. And I don't even have to know where you live or not even your real name. That is kind of nice in my opinion that you can do that. And it doesn't cost you a single penny. I will read your letter, I will try to respond to it and give you advice to the best of my ability. I am not an expert on human behavior, but by the same token, I would not want you to go and see a psychologist. If you've been abused, you are not mentally ill. You have been damaged by people who should have loved you and cared for you, but you can heal yourself, or at least I would like you to try to do that. As I said, you can do it. If it doesn't work, you can look for help somewhere else. So it is the simplest thing that I can, in simplest ways that I can give you this advice. I have written on tweet because I like what I wrote there. It talks about forgiveness creates a feeling of wholeness in thought, spirit, and action, moving together, creating a force for healing, respect, and peace. And this is what every single one of us would like to have in our lives. So the reason it creates a feeling of wholeness, when we are angry with other people, we really have we divide ourselves. Anger does not create a feeling of well-being and wholeness. It creates a feeling that I am going to lash out at this person or that person who hurt me. That is not a good idea, because getting even has never ever healed one single victim. At times we create new victims by doing that. But the wholeness, the feeling of wholeness, that you feel good about who you are and what you do, and it helps you and it does not hurt anybody, which is really a very simple rule. If it helps you and doesn't hurt any other person, that's a beautiful idea. And that is what I would keep as the guiding directions in my life. I can feel good about who I am, but I have not hurt another person. And that is what really forgiveness creates. And anybody trying to tell you or anybody that is not so, I am willing to debate it, because I can see it in my own life and in the lives of other people who have followed my ideas. Yes, I know that the world is filled with victims. Boy, is that a problem. How on earth are all these victims created? I don't know. I really don't know, but I think that there are a lot of parents who are not really fit to be parents. They should not bring any children to the world, yet they think that having a nice picture with a little boy and girl looks good in the album. But children are a little bit more than props in an album. Children should be brought to this world because the parents want to love them, nurture them, educate them, teach them responsibility. And when that doesn't happen, we have created a lot of sad, angry, neglected, and abused children. And I don't know how to stop it, but I cannot get back into anybody's life, but I am working on. And if I accomplish that mission in life, that if you have been abused and you're a damaged person, if I can help you heal yourself, I think that I have done some good in this world, and that is what I'm hoping that you can do for yourself. So, I think that I'm going to wind that up, even that is a short session, but there isn't that much to it. That is the whole thing. I mean, I could read my letter of forgiveness to Mengele and to the Nazis, which is, I have done that already. It's a very simple letter. The other thing that I would like you to do is to go on our website, listen to all my chats, because they all give you a good insight into my philosophy. If you want to even see more than that, you can Google my name and then look at the videos that are available, quite a few of them. But we are trying to put on Eva Chats a lot more videos that will be helpful to people just like you who need a specific topic to be discussed. Thank you very much and good luck. And remember, all you have to do is email me, Eva Core, at abcs.com, and I will respond.